I was going. I believe many of us has seen the video that they're going to release an event. That's how I knew about it because Twitter has been down for me for the past few days, so I couldn't get the information on Twitter as per usual that I would do. So here we go again, another new banner and another should you pull video. So this time I'm just going to go through all the reasons why you should be pulling Titi, and you will make up the mind yourself. I have learned my lesson of just telling you guys not to pull. I would just tell all the reasons that might why you might want to pull. So let's begin. So here we have Titi. She is a incantation medic. So just like Reed Altar, you can see here with good attack range and heals 50% of the damage dealt when attacking. Now, if you bring her to module level 1, that will increase it to 6%. I don't have that because I don't really point of it. So I haven't got the module unlocked. Unlocking the module does increase her damage and her healing capability, but I think the key thing about her is actually about her sleep instead of the extra damage or extra bit of healing that you get out of the module. So not to go with the module, and obviously go with her, you might want to use it. You might want to go to module level 3, but I haven't really seen a case where it's there yet. I wouldn't recommend it for now. First talent is that can attack enemies who are asleep, and when attacking enemies that are not moving will deal an extra up to 6% of her attack as large damage. If it is with module level 3, that increases up to 31%. So 31%. Then when there are enemies on the field, they will take up to 32% of her attack as arch damage per second, or up to 40 level 3. So this is like a scanning whole field. If there is enemies that are asleep, they'll damage over time. So you can work that with other traders. Pretty interesting, but not the most amount of damage as you can see because her base attack isn't the highest. 42% of that is not going to be. Her second talent is that all Minnows or Sargon operator will have plus up to 22 attack speed if their HP is above 50%. I actually just don't remember the faction name, so bear with me if I just put it correctly. I just didn't work in my head. I was reading off basically off the Chinese text. So that's her base kit. Now let's take a look at her skill. First of all, we have her skill 1. Very interesting skill. So upon activating skill, TT will have plus 100% attack, and every attack has 50% chance to sleep the target for 3 seconds. Now, because of the class, the attack speed attack interval is actually 1.6 seconds. So every 1.6 seconds is a 50% chance to sleep the enemy for 3 seconds. Just do the pure math, it's roughly every 3.2 seconds, sleep an enemy for 3 seconds. Now, the skill will be going down to 40 SP requirement and last 17 seconds. It's kind of a joke of a skill if you really ask me. Like 17 seconds with it and then 50% sleep chance. So pointless, I would say. Just wouldn't even bother with her. And usually when you're trying to use sleep, trying to perma-stall, and you actually want something that is more consistent, controllable rather than 50. Would not recommend anyone to empty this skill. And skill 1. Up next, we have skill 2. Upon activating skill 2, TT stops attack, increased attack by 180%, and TT herself and the operator within her attack area that has the lowest ratio of HP will fall into sleep until the skill ends. Now, during this not actually sleep dealt by enemy, it's more like a sleep buff where you are actually the operator cannot take any damage, basically making them invincible for up to 15 seconds. And you can actually close the skill whenever you want, so you can adjust the timing at which the operator can wake up. Now, during that period of time, TT and the target operator will sleep all surrounding enemies. So let's say, as an example, if you can see my mice here, the 8 surrounding tiles will be asleep, and if the target is on the diagonal, other 9 tiles here will also be asleep. So you look at a good coverage of 18 tiles of sleep, and it's AoE. And first talent effect will be increased to 3.3 times average rate. So if you were looking at the damage per second over time, you're looking at 42% times by 3.3, and then with plus 108%, getting slightly decent amount of damage. You're looking at about 40,000 damage in total during this skill, which is pretty significant if you really think about it. Back in the day, where 40,000 arch damage was a lot, nowadays you don't have resistance penetration and whatnot. It's not really a lot, unfortunately. Now, this skill definitely has a great potential because essentially you're looking at 15 seconds of sleep and then 20 seconds of cooldown. Very impactful. And essentially I would say that this is her main skill. And if you do want to use some sort of sleep mechanic team, like perma stall team, like great skill to have. And obviously you guys have seen how much they have done perma stall, sleep in perma stall in past CCs. So definitely this kind of skill that you will want to be in like really high difficulty, and that can require a perma stall strategy. Skill 2. At last we have skill 3. Upon activating skill 3, Titi will gain a plus 180% attack. Will be able to attack 2 enemies at the same time, and when attacking an enemy that is not asleep, will make them sleep for 5 seconds. Now, during skill duration, all enemies on the field who wake up from sleep or getting defeated during sleep will take up to 460% of her attack as arch damage. Now, this damage will increase as sleep duration increases. So let's say as a start, it will be a really low percentage, and then after 5 seconds, it reaches 400. And then it will also make another enemy within a 1.5 tower radius, which has the highest hate, like most prioritized enemy, to sleep for 5 seconds. So usually it's the one that is closest to the blue gate, and then the other one is if they have some sort of taunt that will go towards them as well. Now, all ally units, ally operators within the attack area, when they take fatal damage, they will fall into sleep and recover HP over time until their HP is fully recovered or the skill time is over. Now, this is a very interesting skill because on paper, this is very strong. Potentially, you're looking at over 100,000 damage, and you're looking at a lot of sleep across a lot of enemies, right? But the first things first is it doesn't prioritize enemies that are not sleeping, so it follows the traditional route of targeting enemies. So the 2 enemies that are most in front will take damage, and she will keep attacking them until the enemies coming from behind surpasses them. So if there's quite a few tile gap between the first group of enemy and the second group of enemy, you might be like taking quite a bit of time when it comes to the total damage it's dealing with a huge pack of enemy. Second thing is, because when enemy die during the skill, they will transfer the sleep. It makes it feel really random that sometimes, enemy will be falling asleep and then we're waking up and then there's like another one's falling asleep. It feels really randomized, and it doesn't give that sense of distance that skill 2 provides, where you're guaranteed, okay, AoE, everyone goes to sleep. Skill 3 is like, oh, now these 2 are sleeping, and then the next 2 enemy comes across, oh, I'm now attacking these 2, those 2 are sleeping, and then the first 2 wakes up, and then you're like, wait, what is going on? I'm not keeping track of any of this, and you just feels really random. And when it comes to sleep, you're also depending on the enemy's positioning instead of just your AoE, which is much more powerful. So yeah, at first a lot of people probably thought this skill was pretty decent, but unfortunately, as you can see, I wasted my material M3 skill when essentially skill 2 is the only skill that you would. So most likely don't M3. Now, at last, I want to quickly talk about her UCSs. So if you're just looking at normal events, I wouldn't really use her for the sake of using her. You can. It's just that when you put enemies into sleep, all your really strong operators can't deal damage to them. You're really looking at building a team surrounding sleep for that to work. And how often do you potentially? Not a lot. If you're a beginner, obviously having her is a really good addition. Having her skill 2 at E1 allows you to AoE sleep when you only have like 1 really strong operator. Let's say if you have 1 Wizardel, you're borrowing a Wizardel, and then, you ran out of ammo. Huge wave of enemy comes, no skill up for Wizardel. can use skill 2 to put the enemies to sleep and then wait for Wizardell's skill to come back. So that's a pretty good use case, but that's only if you're a beginner. The other thing then is CC, of course. So in CC, skill 2 is actually so powerful. You can actually think of it as the second best option other than Tragodia skill 3 when it comes to AoE control. That sounds really good until you realize that there is still a Tragodia skill 3 up there. So in order to use Titi, you're either considering situations where Tragodia is fully banned, which is obviously does happen, but what are the odds that they'll ban Tragodia's effect, right, and not ban sleep when we have already had so many sleeps past that has beat PCs? So that's the chance that you're betting on. And then there's the other choice of actually adding on to control on top of Tragodia skill 3. So when Tragodia skill 3 is on, or skill 2 is on cooldown, you can use Titi to cover up with some of the time. But that would require quite a bit of skill and quite a bit of understanding. It is an option, actually a pretty decent one if you know what you're doing, but I won't go too deep into it because it would require quite a bit of understanding of how these two mechanics interact with each other. And I bet you most of us wouldn't even get there because we haven't even seen it used in CC yet. We might have a upcoming CC 5 coming soon, and we'll see how that goes. But if you're really looking forward to CC, you will pull, if you're looking forward to CC, like highest risk operator that you have to consider when it comes to. Next is IS. Now, I'll talk mainly about IS5 because there is a few cases where this skill is decent. So as an example, when you want to use when you want to turn operators into candle holders, the one that where you have to be like get in the sage, you can now protect one operator without much effort, really easy. And then if you want to go into hidden endings where the beat stomps, the triple stomp can be really nasty, you just only need to grab E1 TT just to cover your survivability, like saving one operator. Now obviously a lot of us just grabs extra altar, does the job and deals damage, so she does a lot more in general. But because obviously you have the fact that she is a specialist, you have Yato, altar, and somewhat other operators that you can grab, whereas TT, you're not grabbing a lot of medics other than one medic that is coming down the road that I shall not name, but if you know, you know. If you don't know, then you don't know. Other than that medic, you can actually grab her for now. When that new medic comes around, I would probably stick to that medic as my first medic pick, to be honest. So that's really up to you right now. If you're like really into IS5, I don't see a lot of, but if you are, decent pick when it comes to medic, you can choose to pick her if you don't have a lot of operators to keep up survivability and keep other operators alive, especially for ending where the triple storm can be really nasty. RA, you don't really need a lot of sleep. SSS, sleep actually makes things worse because you're slowing down time, so you're actually making things a lot more. So generally speaking, wouldn't consider her for those two modes as well. And that will be it for this video. Essentially, only pull Titi if you're really looking forward to maybe IES potential in the future. Maybe IS, wait, did I say IS5? I meant IS6. When IS7 releases in here, maybe she'll have a chance to shine. You never know because it's IS, everything is random. Or you can look forward to future CC where you might want to do max risk with like very few operators, and perma stall. Perma stall is something that you were willing to do, even though that takes forever. They take forever and I don't like them. So that's basically it. I hope you guys have found some use cases that you might want to bring home. If not, keep saving, and there's always better operators coming down the road. I can definitely tell you the next limited banner is really spicy. I hope you guys all have the pulls for it. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one where I will be pulling her myself, because I do prepare for IS no matter how niche the potential and how low the potential is. I always do it. See you guys then. Bye.